Hi, Jessie Mifsud, Blue Door Yoga and Wellness. Today we are going to be talking about hips and giving them some love. So our hips do a whole bunch of stuff for us all day long, and sitting is not the best position for our hips. And you may have noticed that you're feeling a little tight in your back body, in your mid back, upper back, low back. You may be feeling tight in your hip flexors, hamstrings, and that could all be happening because of your hips and not giving them enough lubrication, enough movement, enough opening. So first thing that I recommend is move. So do yoga, get out there and walk, treadmill, run, whatever it is that you do. Do that so that you can get some motion and range of motion going in your hips, some loading, weight bearing, all that kind of stuff. So that's important. So that's number one. But there's also something else that you can do. You can do a wonderful, wonderful restorative yoga pose that I believe everyone should be doing every day of their life. And it's restorative pigeon. You may have done regular pigeon in some of your public classes, but restorative pigeon is like way beyond. It is a wonderful pose. You get some support from all of the props that we use, and that really changes the way your body performs in pigeon and the amount of opening that you're going to get in your hips. I love it. It's really one of my go-to poses. And I actually recommended in yoga last night that everyone should be doing this pose every single day. So it is a prop-intensive pose because it's restorative pigeon. So you need a bolster, and I'm using a wonderful bolster from Chatra, which is a local woman-owned brand, and it's made in India, so it checks all my boxes. So if you don't have a Chatra bolster, it will still work just as well, but I love a beautiful bolster. So you need a bolster. You need anywhere from 3 to 6 blankets. I know that sounds like a lot, but the reason that I have you have so many blankets is to really accommodate your body. So if you're really, really tight in the hips, you're probably going to need all 6 blankets just in order to be able to settle into the pose. If you are a little more open in the hips, then you may only need 1 blanket, maybe 2 blankets. So I'm going to show you the whole gamut here. So I've got my extra blankets here. They're off camera, but they're here. And I'm going to set them up so that you can see what I do with them and how it can accommodate really everybody. So your bolster is going to go horizontally on your mat, and it's about 1/3 of the way down your mat from the front. And then one of your blankets, and these blankets are all in your traditional yoga fold, so make sure that they're in your traditional yoga fold. And if you don't know what that is, I think I may have to do a tutorial video on folding yoga blankets, because you guys, that's a whole thing unto itself. So, traditional yoga fold for your blanket. One of those 6 blankets goes behind your bolster, perpendicular to your bolster. So it is lengthwise on your mat on the left side. So it's kissing your bolster, and it's on the left side, and it is vertical, and it's perpendicular to your bolster. I hope that all makes sense. You know what? I'll lift the bolster so you can see it. So there's the blanket. There's my horizontal bolster, and it's kissing the blanket. And then the remaining 5 blankets are in traditional yoga fold, really nicely folded so there's no lumps and bumps, and they are stacked at the top of your mat. So the way to get into this pose is you sit on your bolster, facing the stack of blankets, knees are bent, soles of the feet are on the ground. You toe heel that left foot all the way to the left, so the outer edge of your foot is on the edge of your mat. And then go ahead, grab your right ankle with your right hand, bring the heel of that right foot so that it's touching the bolster. Flex that right foot, so pull those toes back towards that right shin. That's gonna protect your knee and stabilize it. And if there's any discomfort in your knee, that should probably alleviate any discomfort. So flexing that foot is for your knee, safety, knee health. And then you're gonna bring your hands down onto the mat, and on your inhale, swing that left leg back. So you can see that my hips are askew, I'm on this diagonal. I wanna get my hips square to the bolster. I wanna be facing forward. So I'm gonna press into my hands, readjust, shift my hips until my pelvis is square. Okay, my hips are square, and now I'm facing the stack of blankets in front of me. You guys can all see that. Look back at that left leg, and that left leg should be coming straight out of the hip socket onto that blanket, and the top of the foot, the top of the toes are pressing into either the blanket or the mat, depending on your anatomy. And then from here, I want you to bring your hands onto the stack of blankets. Inhale, lengthen the heart away from the navel. So just find lots of space in that front body. Exhale, keep all of that space. Bring the forearms down to the blankets, and I like to just allow my forearms to be wherever they are that feels comfortable. And I already can tell that the blankets are too close to me because my forehead lands on my forearms, but my nose is still on the blanket. I want my nose off the blanket. I want my forehead on the very edge of the blanket. So what I'm gonna do is shift the blankets forward a few inches, bring my hands back on the blankets, inhale, reestablish that length in the front body, exhale, bring my forearms down, and then bring my forehead down onto the blanket, and my nose is hanging off. So the only thing on the blanket on my face is my forehead. And then that allows me to find some melting in my heart, to release my chest and allow my upper back to soften and release as well. So this may be where you're at. This may be where you are at the edge in that right hip. If you have more opening, and that's only if the breath is spacious and you're able to really, really be in this pose without wondering, when the heck am I getting out of it? If you have that spaciousness, then you can start removing some of the blankets under your forearms. Now, I know me and my hip structure, I can go down to just one blanket. So I'm gonna inhale, find all that space in my front body. Exhale, bring the forearms down. Bring my forehead to the edge of the blanket, nose is hanging off, and let the whole body go soft. So now I'm feeling a big stretch from the insertion point of my IT band around the outer hip
And I'm even feeling a stretch in my psoas. And you could be feeling a stretch in either one or both of those places. You could be feeling a stretch in your calf, lower leg area. So really depending on where you're tight, you're gonna feel that stretch. And I would stay here for about 3 minutes. So put a timer on and just hang out for about 3 minutes. So the other point that I want to make is as you're in the pose for an extended period of time, you may start with all of those blankets stacked, you know, all 5 of those blankets or more, or whatever you started with. You may be starting with that stack of blankets, and as things open up, you may be able to remove a blanket at a time. So you're gonna see a vast improvement in your hip opening, comfort in your low back, mid back, upper back, your hamstrings, your hip flexor. It's really gonna be a game changer for you. So this is the setup for the right side. You would do the same thing on the left side and sit in that for 3 minutes as well. And just be aware that your right and left are gonna feel very different probably. So what's happening in one side of your body is not necessarily what's gonna happen on the other side. So please meet yourself where you're at. Don't have any expectations of what it's gonna feel like, how many blankets you're gonna use. Just really listen to your body, listen to your breath, and be in the pose. So that is restorative pigeon. Do it daily. 3 minutes on the right side, 3 minutes on the left side. So to get into the left side, just use this tutorial. You can play it back, but instead of all the cueing for the right side, use it for the left side, okay? Would love to hear what you think of this pose and how it has helped you if you've been doing it for a while, and how it may have changed your relationship with your body and your hips. So drop me a comment, let me know how it feels, and if you're coming to the studio, let's have a conversation about pigeon pose and what it's doing for your body, or maybe not doing for your body. Everything is valid. Thanks. Follow Blue Door, and you'll keep getting tips like this along with rolling and all that other great stuff so that you can really find as much comfort in your body as possible.